Hey there everyone! Welcome back to the channel, or a huge hello if you're new around here. Today we're diving into a topic that's so important, especially if you've got seniors in your life, like your parents, grandparents, or even that sweet neighbor down the street. We're talking about why suddenly changing their daily routines can actually harm their health. Think about it, your grandma who lives for her 7 a.m. oatmeal, or your grandpa who's out feeding the birds every afternoon like it's his sacred duty. Those little patterns aren't just habits, they're a massive part of keeping them healthy, happy, and feeling like themselves. So, over the next 10 minutes, we're going to unpack all of this step by step. We'll dig into the science, yep, there's real research behind this, share some stories that'll hit you right in the feels, and give you practical, down-to-earth tips to handle changes without flipping their world upside down. Trust me, this is going to be eye-opening, and you won't want to miss a second. Oh, and if you love learning stuff like this, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you're always in the loop. Alright, let's get rolling. So let's kick things off with the big why. Why are routines such a huge deal for older adults? Imagine you're 80 years old. Every morning you wake up at 6:45, put on the kettle, make a cup of tea, and sit by the window watching the world wake up. It's simple, it's predictable, and it feels good. That's not just a cozy moment, it's a health boost. And here's the proof. There's this study from the gerontologist, don't worry I won't make you spell it, that looked at tons of seniors and found something pretty amazing. People who stuck to their daily routines had way better physical health, less anxiety rattling around in their minds, and fewer days where they felt blue. Let's break that down with some numbers because I know you're curious. Seniors with low routines scored 2.3 points worse on physical function, like how well they could walk or climb stairs. Their anxiety jumped up by almost 3 points on a scale, and depressive symptoms climbed by 2.8 points. That's not a tiny hiccup. That's a serious red flag. So what's the deal? Why does this happen? Well, as we age, our bodies and brains lose some of that bounce-back magic we had when we were younger. At 30, you could stay up till 2 a.m. binge-watching shows and still function the next day with a strong coffee. At 80? Nope. There's this thing called the circadian rhythm. It's your body's internal clock, ticking away, telling you when to sleep, when to eat, when to feel awake and alive. But here's the kicker, it gets shaky as we get older. It's not as tough as it used to be. So, when you throw in a sudden change like skipping that tea or pushing bedtime way later, it's like pulling the rug out from under them. It doesn't just mess with one thing, it ripples out to their sleep, their stress, their balance, even their mood. And we're going to unpack every bit of that today. Let me paint you a picture from my own life. My uncle Tony, he's 72, has this morning ritual where he walks his little terrier Max at 8 a.m. sharp, rain or shine. It's like clockwork. Last summer Max had a vet thing and couldn't walk for 2 weeks. Tony didn't just miss the exercise, he got grumpy, his knees started aching more, and he even said he felt out of sorts. That's not a coincidence. That's routine doing its job. And I bet you've seen this too. Maybe your mom's got that afternoon nap she swears by, or your grandpa's got his fishing trip every Saturday. Those aren't just things they do. They're threads holding their days together. Lose them suddenly, and it's like unraveling a sweater. Everything starts to fall apart. Oh, and one more quick story. My friend's dad, Bill. He's 77, and every evening he sits on his porch with a glass of lemonade, watching the sunset. It's his zen moment. One week, construction noise killed that vibe, and he was off. Couldn't sleep, kept pacing. Routines aren't just habits, they're health glue. Okay, now let's get into the meat of it. What exactly goes wrong when you flip a senior's routine on its head? We're breaking this into 3 big areas: sleep, physical health, and mental well-being, because it's a triple whammy. First up, sleep. Here's a wild stat. Over 50% of older adults deal with insomnia. That's straight from a study on sleep quality in seniors, and it's a wake-up call, pun intended. Routines are their secret weapon. Going to bed at the same time, like 10 p.m. every night, helps them fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, and wake up feeling human. But imagine this, they've been doing that 10 p.m. thing for years, and then one night you push it to midnight. Maybe it's a grandkid's birthday party, a late TV show, whatever. What happens? They're lying there staring at the ceiling, maybe getting up to shuffle around or grab a snack. Next morning, they're foggy, dragging, and probably snapping at anyone who looks at them funny. That's not just a rough night, that's a health domino falling. The science here is solid. That sleep study found routine stability cuts sleep problems by 12%. That's shorter times to fall asleep, better sleep efficiency, like actually staying asleep, and less daytime grogginess. Without it, you're looking at restless nights, choppy sleep, and even a higher chance of memory slipping over time. Ever seen a senior's quick nap turn into a 3-hour coma? That's what happens when the rhythm's off. Now let's talk about the body. Picture them doing a morning walk. 20 minutes around the neighborhood, keeping the heart pumping, legs strong, balance on point, it's perfect. But then something changes. Winter rolls in, or they move to a new place, and that walk disappears. Here's the scary truth. Muscles weaken fast when you're older. We're talking days or weeks, not months. And weak muscles mean falls. Falls are a huge deal. They're the top cause of injuries for seniors, sending millions to the ER every year with broken hips, bruises, you name it. One little routine tweak, and suddenly they're wobbling. I saw this with my neighbor's mom, Clara. She had this daily stretch routine, 10 minutes, nothing crazy. Tweaked her back, stopped for a bit, and within a month she was unsteady, nearly fell in the kitchen. It's wild how quick it hits. And don't sleep on digestion, another pun. Mealtimes are sacred. Switch them out of nowhere, say lunch goes from noon to 2 p.m., and their metabolism's like, what is this? The National Institute on Aging says this can crank up risks for diabetes, high blood pressure, all that nasty stuff. My great-aunt Mary tried this. New caregiver pushed dinner from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. 2 weeks later. She's bloated, uncomfortable, and complaining non-stop. Small shift, big chaos. And then there's the mind. Oh boy, this one's a doozy. Retirement's a classic example. One day you're up at 6 a.m., heading to work, living that structured life. Next day, no alarm, no schedule, just empty space. Sounds like a dream, but for tons of seniors it's a nightmare. There's a study on routine preferences that says folks who love structure, and a lot of older adults do, get hit hardest by change. Anxiety spikes, sadness seeps in, sometimes even depression takes root. My cousin's dad, Frank, retired 2 years ago, ditched his morning coffee run, stopped his daily errands. 6 months later, he's isolated, napping half the day and barely talking to anyone. It's insane how fast it snowballs. And it's not just the big stuff. Even tiny changes like skipping their evening crossword can throw them off. My friend's grandma, Sue, had this nightly ritual with a cup of tea and a book. 1 week she ran out of tea, didn't bother replacing it. Next thing you know, she's restless, up all night, and cranky as heck. Routine's their anchor, yank it away and they're adrift. Let's bring this to life with some stories and science that'll make your jaw drop. First up, moving, new house, fresh start, sounds exciting, right? But for seniors, it's a health shakeup. A Science Direct study found big changes like that throw off their circadian rhythms for weeks. New bed, new sounds, they're not sleeping, they're stressed, and it shows big time. My grandpa moved to an apartment last year just 2 blocks from his old place. Took him a month to stop waking up at 4 a.m., all because the traffic noise was different. Tiny thing, massive impact. Then there's my mom's friend, Dave. He's 76, used to play poker with his buddies every Thursday night. Rain or shine, he was there. The venue closed and he didn't find a new spot. Next thing you know, he's sitting at home gaining weight, complaining about his joints. Routine gone, health sliding, it's a pattern. Here's a smaller one. My Aunt Linda, she's 68, had this evening ritual with a cup of chamomile tea, her wind down moment. 1 week she skipped it because she forgot to restock. Sleep, toast. She was up pacing, grumbling about it for days. That tea was her signal, lose it, and she's lost. Now the science is nuts. That sleep study I keep bringing up, they measured it. Routine stability boosts sleep efficiency by 11 to 12%, and overall sleep quality jumps 4 to 10%. That's not fluff, that's hard data. Mentally, less routine means more anxiety, up to 2.8 points higher on a depression scale. And here's a twist from Harvard. Isolation's as bad as smoking 15 cigarettes a day for seniors. Routines with social stuff like a daily call or a coffee meetup can fight that off. Who knew a quick chat could be a health hack? Oh, and one more story. My co-worker's dad, Pete, he's 73, used to garden every Sunday morning, got a knee injury, stopped for a bit, didn't just miss the flowers, he got restless, started overeating, and felt off for weeks. And here's a quirky one. My friend's uncle, Sam, he's 70, had this habit of feeding the squirrels every afternoon. Squirrels moved on and he didn't replace it with anything. Next thing you know, he's moping, saying he feels purposeless. It's the little routines that hold them together. Lose them suddenly, and it's like pulling a thread from a tapestry. Okay, we've covered the why. Now let's tackle the how. Life's messy, right? Things change. New homes, new schedules, new everything. How do we do it without wrecking their health? Rule 1, go slow. Want to shift their wake up from 7 a.m. to 8? Don't do it in one go. Move it 15 minutes every few days. Let their body ease into it. Rule 2, keep some anchors. If they always have breakfast before meds, don't flip that. It's their rock in the storm. Rule 3, give them a voice. Ask, hey, wanna walk at 9 or 10? Or, when's a good time for your show? It's not just practical, it cuts the stress and keeps them feeling in control. Rest is massive too. Seniors tire out faster, so build in breaks. Maybe 20 minutes to sit after chores or a walk. Consistency's gold, especially if memory's shaky. Same order every day, breakfast, meds, nap, helps them stay on track. Big change, like moving to assisted living, get a doctor in the loop, watch for signs, extra tiredness, more worry, anything off. My friend's grandpa moved and the doc caught stress early, saved a lot of trouble. Here's a pro tip weave in social stuff. A nightly call, a weekly lunch. Harvard says it fights isolation, which is a health killer up there with smoking. My mom started calling her dad every night at 8, routine and love all wrapped up. And keep it fun. If they love puzzles, sneak that into the new plan. My uncle switched his evening news to morning but kept his crossword time, kept him sharp and smiling. Small tweaks, big wins. So there you have it, folks. Sudden routine changes can really throw seniors for a loop, from sleep to strength to how they feel inside. But with some care, slow shifts, a bit of say-so, and a sprinkle of connection, we can keep them golden. What about you? Have you seen this with your own family? Maybe a story about your mom's coffee habit or your grandpa's garden time? Drop it in the comments, I love hearing from you. If this hit home, give it a big thumbs up, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe if you're not already part of the crew. Thanks for hanging out with me for over 10 minutes, you're amazing. See you next time, take care.